shabu, you like drama, you like big stuff, big shoes, but I'm gonna come to you like a fright. I promise I'll take you into the light. I just wanna hold you to my breast. I just wanna hold you to my breast.
Welcome to another edition of Biro Sports Talk. I'm your host, Biro. As always, at the beginning of every show, I usually share and share and share. I've been doing a lot better, and I totally, for some reason, almost forgot today. So, like I always do, let's share this video wherever I can. So, that's going to play me everything, you know. It's going to play it. There we go. Got it. There we go. Let's get it shared. So, as you may have heard, we are on all platforms basically. Might not be able to read it, but we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. Yes, we're on Twitch. This episode, actually. These episodes are on Twitch. These are also live for everyone to see. So feel free to share. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. Feel free to share. Man, it's hard to focus. There we go. Boom. But you know, things are interesting because last week was the playoffs. We also had our national title game. A lot of things going on. A lot of things were just kind of like, don't repeat, don't do this, yada yada, etc., etc. Alright, we got it. Alright, good. We are set up to be live. So, as I was saying last week, we had our NFL playoffs. Monday, we had our national championship. Obviously, the Crimson Tide was too much for the Buckeyes. I actually fell asleep at halftime. Excuse me, and I'm kind of glad I did. But over the picks from last week, we were 3 for 3. Shocker, I know. It's kind of how it happens when we talk about playoffs. So, the picks that worked, or was correct: Bills over Indy, Bucks over football team, Saints over Bears. The ones that were wrong: Seattle lost to the Rams, Titans lost to the Ravens, and of course the Steelers lost to the Browns. A lot of away teams winning. Which is interesting because I only have one away team winning in this week's picks. So this week, you got the Chiefs and the Browns. I personally am choosing the Chiefs. It's hard to not choose Mahomes. Next, I'm choosing the Bills over the Ravens. I do think Josh Allen and the Bills, a lot of people say dark horse, but I know for a fact the Bills, after what they had last year, they are a very solid team this year. The Bucks, I'm choosing over the Saints because, as history shows, beating a team 3 times in a season is hard to do. I mean, yes, the Saints demolished the Bucks in both games, basically, but like I said, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. So, first things first, as well, is the Packers versus the Rams. As much as I want to see the Packers lose, I just don't see it against the Rams. Packers beat the Rams, in my opinion, no matter who the starting quarterback is. So, there's the picks. Let's go straight into some more breaking news. Urban Meyer is making the jump to be the coach for the Jaguars. I know it's been rumored all week and leading up into this week, but it's official now. Urban is making that leap. Personal thoughts. I think it will be a nice culture change. We talk culture a lot because in that area, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they were losing their culture after making playoffs and being in the AFC Championship game of all places. They got rid of a lot of their defining pieces of that team. They still have some players, but they're young, man. They're very young. And now you get the number one pick overall. It's a perfect situation to test out the NFL. Wish the best of luck for Urban. I think he can turn this team around. I give him 2 years to be playoff bound. I think this year will be a nice stepping stone to like a 6-10, a 5-11, and we'll go from there. Again, though, the 52-24 blowout in the national championship game, very crazy to think about for college football. Other big news throughout this week. James Harden's now a Brooklyn Net, the place he wanted to go all along. That trade had a lot of moving pieces, so I'm trying to double check who was all in this trade. There was a lot of moving pieces, most notably Brooklyn's draft picks, because why not? Brooklyn likes to trade their draft picks. Here we go. So this story is on ESPN, of course. It's the grades for the winners and losers in the James Harden trade. So the actual trade, there's 4 teams. You got the Nets getting James Harden and a second-round pick. The Rockets get Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Rodions Kurucs. I'm not quite familiar, but the Rockets also get 4 first-round picks and 4 pick swaps for the future, of course. The Cavaliers are in this trade. They get Jarrett Allen, who in 2K always seems to block my shot. Taurean Prince, who at one point looked like a budding star, but has become a nice defensive player as well, who can score. The Pacers get Karis LeVert, which they needed that kind of volume scorer who can get you your 20 plus a night and a second round pick. So how do you grade these picks and trades? Like how do you grade it? How do you grade it? So they gave the Brooklyn Nets a D. Personally, I'll be honest, besides being a easy grader, I definitely think the Brooklyn Nets should get more of a C. I don't think it's D, even though they pretty much gave a king's ransom. Because you also got to think of the immediate impact. You still have Spencer Dinwiddie whenever he comes back from a partial ACL tear. You still have a lot of good pieces there in Brooklyn. What you don't have are draft picks, and a lot of undrafted guys have been flourishing in the league. But when you got 3 alphas, let's say, you got Durant, you got Harden, both high volume shots. You got Kyrie, who needs the ball in his hand. And for good reason. He can make plays. But now you're looking at who's beside them. Joe Harris is a great spot shooter for this team. He's going to do some damage. They play Jeff Green for small ball lineups and DeAndre Jordan for, well, to be a body. But putting Jeff Green in for a small ball situation, that's a team that's kind of scary. I think they need something for that fifth guy. I don't think Jeff Green's the answer. Jeff Green would be a nice person to spell Durant or someone. But you look at this team, and the first thing a lot of the analysts were saying is you don't have a Chris Bosh, the obvious third option. Yes, Kyrie's probably going to have to accept being the third option. However, Kyrie's very capable of being one or two. All three of these guys are very capable of being 1 through 3. Where Dwayne Wade, at the height of the Heat, could push LeBron from being 1, but LeBron was always more acceptable of being number 2 when he needed to. So again, I'm a C versus this D. They do lose a lot of draft picks, and we'll see how that plays out. Now Houston, they grade them as an A-, and Houston has a lot of pieces already from other trades that are working out. You got DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall, Christian Wood, all playing very well. You get a Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum. I don't know the last guy that well, but Victor Oladipo, if you can get prime Victor Oladipo, all-star, all-pro, that's what you're looking for. If you can get him to be a consistent scorer, that is also a positive for them. It just gives Indiana peace of mind. The Rockets get a solid shooting guard to replace James Harden with. Even if he doesn't have to just take over games, he can just be a player. But this is a team that you can also look at and be like, are they the 8 seed? Are they the 7 seed? We'll see further down. But you have talent there. And the Rockets, there's writing on the wall. We'll see where they play out. Now the Pacers, they give them a B+. I have to agree B+, because they could have gotten more from this deal. LeVert's a great piece. He's kind of what they need. They need like a prime Oladipo, and they were just not getting it right now. And LeVert could be very well. We'll see. But Indiana also needed to make cap space for when Sabonis, Miles Turner, and TJ Warren's contracts come into question. And here's another one. They say C, but I could give them less. If you want the honest answer. So Cleveland gets into this deal. They get Jarrett Allen, and they already have Andre Drummond and JaVale McGee. They get Taurean Prince too as a cap hit, basically. I give it more of a C-, a little smaller grade, and that's maybe because I'm harder on Cleveland for no reason besides that LeBron played there. But this didn't seem like the right guy. LeVert could have been an interesting choice, but they do have a lot of talent in youth. I say talent very loosely, mind you, because they do still have Kevin Love. And Darius Garland and Colin Sexton are becoming, a very good backcourt. They're not there yet, but Allen could help him with like a pick and roll lob threat, which first thing you think of is Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Rudy Gobert. Andre Drummond's a glass cleaner. JaVale McGee could be that pick and roller. He's just aging right now. So that's what we're looking at for Biro Sports Talk. Whatever. But those are the grades I would give this deal. This is a very huge deal because now the East looks like the Nets to lose. The Nets have to win the East to justify this pick. And that's a very truth. Very truth. Yes, it's a very, very much what should happen. Because we're talking NBA, let's look at the standings thus far in the season. So again, this is a shortened season. They're trying to get the games in. To get the games in, basically. Oh, excuse me. Right now, the Celtics are 1, Bucks 2, 76ers 3, Pacers are 4, Magic 5, Nets are 6, the Hornets are 7, and the Hawks are 8. Your Heat are out. The Knicks are right there. There's a lot of teams right there. But then you get to the Bulls, the Wizards, the Raptors. What is going on? Man, talk about freaking me out. Siri kicking on for no reason. But, like I said, the Raptors, the Pistons, the Wizards, Bulls, you're kind of bottom of the East then, and it's looking like that's how it's going to play out. A little disappointing, though, for the Raptors, I know. Especially the Wizards. The Wizards should do a lot better. It's honestly what it should be. But we move to the West. Oh, excuse me again, man. Sorry. We move to the West. West has been very dominant. They're just usually more top heavy. Lakers, Clippers, Jazz, Suns at 4. Trailblazers 5, 6, Mavericks 7, Warriors, Spurs at 8, Nuggets, and Grizzlies and Thunder right there. The Kings are kind of right there, and the Pelicans are kind of right there. But then you have the Rockets and Timberwolves. Timberwolves more of a last place team. The West is a little more, there's a lot of people still in it. You can see a number of teams making it, but you kind of know who's going to drop. For example, the Thunder are expected to drop. The Thunder always seems to make it work somehow, but in a year like this, the Warriors are going to try to push hard. Mavericks, Trailblazers, I want to see the Pelicans make this push, but I don't know if we're asking too much, if we're trying to elevate Zion too quickly. My honest truth for the Pelicans, I think you need to get more from Lonzo. You need to get more from all these players besides Ingram and Zion. You got to get your role players playing. Lonzo seems to relax too much. So, not too shabby. We're continuing, we're going, we're trying to move on, watching chats. Man, seeing Urban Meyer going to the NFL will be interesting next year. We're thinking where to go next. So tonight is opening night. You may say, but for who? Like, Well, let me tell you. The National Hockey League. Oh my goodness. Country internet, man. I tell you what. Uh, it's just not loading for me. The NHL starts today. You get a few games. You get your Lightning. You get your Bruins, I believe. I'm going to check that email here shortly. But, like I said, NHL starts up tonight. There we go. Now we're talking, just pulling it up. Let's get some scores. I don't know if they've played yet. I know, personally, Blue Jackets fan, Fort Wayne Comets are not the NHL, but those are the teams we would most likely talk about. I guess the Blue Jackets do play tonight, 8 o'clock, against the Predators, so in a little bit. Right now, the Capitals, Sabres, Bruins, Devils, Islanders, and Rangers are playing. The NHL has decided to go into more regional divisions for the season, mostly because Canada doesn't want any U.S. team going up there right now. And to control the COVID virus, we are trying to contain it with these type of divisions. Now, fun times. They technically, I believe, started yesterday. That sounds right. Maybe. Yes, Wednesday there was a bunch of games. Tuesday have any games? I think it was Wednesday they started. But tonight's a big slate, yes. Well, yesterday they started, and tonight they are having more games, a lot more in general. So yeah, here we are talking NHL hockey. Hockey. I don't know. I don't know why I'm doing it, but hey. We are 25 minutes live. It started early. We really did. We started with a very early. Ooh, there's a bunch of cancellations. I don't even know if the G League is running right now, because that's all the way in 2020. Their last games were canceled. Sounds like what should and probably did happen. Got a team per every team, basically. Trying to look at the Mad Ants because I was curious who was on the team, but that's okay. I don't need to look at it because the internet's slowing way down right now. So let's be honest. I have to agree with this statement that just popped up in the top headlines. The Rockets do have a real direction after trade. I think they could jump to an 8 spot. They have the talent to be a low Western team. But will they? That's the question, and I don't think they will. Sometimes when you stumble out the gate, you just stumble for the season. That seems what happens. Another interesting ruling in the sport of UFC: marijuana essentially eliminated as a UFC violation. Intriguing how everyone's accepting that. So as we come to a close, as always, give the Facebook page a like, give the video a like. I don't care what you do. If you don't want to do any of it, that's fine as well. What I prefer anyways is liking the page. Like growing the page. If you want to follow on Twitch, hey, do it. It helps me. It helps me basically monitor who's watching where, and that's what I kind of like. I know Facebook's the dominance because that's where the page started. That's where everyone watches. Twitch, we'll see what happens. In order to make Twitch worth it, I need to actually see viewers in these videos so that I know viewers will hop on during gaming. Because at one point I was doing some gaming as well, and it was working out pretty well, actually. Not too bad. So, just wanted to update everyone there as well. And let's just say, I greatly appreciate everyone who does watch this, who has supported the show. I will see you guys Wednesday of next week. Yeah, curveball. Wednesday. We're going to see how Wednesday turns out next week. Reason for going Wednesday, it was the original day of the program. The only reason why I ever moved it off of Wednesdays is because I played basketball. So we're going to try Wednesday next week and see how interactive everyone wants to be. So, thank you for those who tune in. No comments, it's fine. But, please, help support the page, help support the channels, and I will see you next week on Wednesday, 7 o'clock.